Once again, my name is B Walk and welcome back to Cop Your Coin, where I show you how to cop your coin in the fastest growing market in world history. Today I'm going to talk about Cardano, kind of some updates. We got some news that's coming up this week, later on this week, and I'll be reporting on that as well. But first, kind of getting a quick update of where we are and going into the IOHK summit, which is taking place in Miami, what to expect coming out of that. So we're going to start off real quick talking about the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis. But you already know what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to do three things, partner. I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that alert button so that you know when fresh content is out from Cop Your Coin. All right, let's get into it. So, as always, start with the cryptocurrency market, the whole market cap, and right now we're at 177 billion. It's about typical. We've had a rally, and we've actually been consolidating for the last couple of days. As you can see, Bitcoin is still holding strong at 5,248. And if we look down here, Cardano is number 10, holding at 0.083, so just above 8 cents, with a market cap of around 2 billion, something like that. So we're looking pretty strong. It's moving fine. And as we look at the technical chart, so let's jump into this real quick. So I want to kind of point out two general big perspectives. So the first one, if we look at Bitcoin real quick, and I want you to get the general perspective. So you see right here, so back here in October, Bitcoin was we're holding just under 7,000, and you see it kind of fell further down, had a pretty big drop, precipitous drop going into 2019. And this is December, actually coming back down in 2018, and coming out of here and been bouncing, and I had a couple of lines drawn. And you see we started to make a rallying point. Now, in my last video, I talked about that Cardano was really first to lead. And so as you see this right here, Bitcoin right now, we're holding here at 5,200, the spike in volume. That's what I want you to look at, the volume here as they fell. Now, if we flip over to the Cardano chart, notice the volume here, first of all, notice that it has basically recovered from its highs back earlier or late last year. The volume here certainly spiked as it went down, and we were kind of building. But as you saw, we started getting lower lows or higher lows and higher highs. Now it bounced a little bit, and then it started to move higher. Again, leading the rest of the market, which I thought was very interesting. This is the 200 period moving average. Now we're on the daily chart, so it's 200 a day. And as you see, it crossed that and leapt above it. And we are currently above where we were back here in November. So comparatively speaking, and look at the volume, how it has spiked. And so in recent months, this is probably the most volume we've seen in recent months. I think that's going into the kind of the news. Fundamentally, it's starting to catch up with the technical. I think we're starting to see some aspects here coming forward. And what I always liked about Cardano specifically was they weren't about marketing their project as far as the price action. Some of these projects are talking about they started saying news or injecting news into the media just because their price was low, or they felt like they needed to pop the price or make it go a little higher. Cardano has never been about that. Charles Hoskinson has spoken at length about that he's more interested in doing long-term projects, long-term ideas and solutions. And the IOHK, Cardano Foundation, and Emergo have all been working in tandem to do that same thing. So they've been steadily putting their head down, getting things done. And I think it's reflected in the price. So as you see right here, Cardano is basically moving higher. We are holding steady here, probably just above 8 cents. Like I said, about 8 cents. And that's good. I think this is a very good sign. Now, do I think that we could come back a little bit? We might, but I'll be surprised if we come past below this 200 period moving average. Always remember that what acted as resistance, once broken through, becomes support. And as you can see right here, that was a big move. That was a big crossover for Cardano to get past that 200 period moving average, and it has. And then like I said, we're bouncing here on the support, which was once resistance way back here in November of 2018. But now we're here in April. And April 17th to be in fact. And so we're looking here, and Cardano's looking like it's building some support. This is the sign of a healthy market. I'm accumulating. I'm always accumulating, hoping to position myself. Now we might have an opportunity to buy it a little bit lower. I'll be shocked, like I said, if it gets below, what is this, about 7 cents. So I'll be surprised if it actually gets below there. I'll be buying with both hands if it does, but I'll be surprised if it does. So at this point, kind of looking at here, everything's looking pretty much strong. As we look at the fundamentals, and that's kind of what I want to focus on today. So jumping in, Charles basically going into this conference, this was actually yesterday, was talking about perfect operability just a decade away. Again, all the articles I talk about will be down in the comments, down in the direct description of the video, so don't worry about trying to capture the URL. As I said here, so you're looking down here and you're saying Charles Hoskinson, the CEO of Cardano and one of the co-founders of Ethereum, provided some context to Cardano's plans for the future ahead of the company's April 17th IOHK summit in Miami, which is actually today. That's actually just started today. Like I said, I'll be seeing some video updates on that as well. Personality cults won't solve the governance crisis in crypto sphere. Now, I spoke about this earlier. He has alluded to this in weeks previous, but basically saying that this is not a game for a cult leader, for one person or a group of individuals to solve the issues. It's a collective issue. It's a collective thing because the very nature of cryptocurrency is supposed to be decentralization. So that is the point. In fact, that it should be an opportunity for everyone to come together and market interoperability of all the currencies, all the players in the world, in the global scale, to come together and solve issues. Now, that's because that is the case. It's going to take some time, and that's kind of what we're talking about and what he's talking about on this particular article. So this was with Block TV, and he spoke about the problems the crypto industry faces. He talked about the fact that they have stable structures that were both leaderless and global. You know, there hasn't been a recorded case of establishing stable structures that are both leaderless and global. That's what cryptocurrency's game is. And that's the point that we're trying to look at. Perfect operability is stifled by regulation, not slow tech development. I agree with that. You know, I love this example that he talks about. The PC took several decades to figure out. But when the web standard was completed in under 15 years, but then the web standard was completed in under 15 years. As time progresses, tech development moves increasingly faster, which is why both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi proliferated quickly. And for those of you who know in the market, I remember back in the 90s, the internet was basically that was a buzzword coming in the mid 90s, going into the late 90s, and everybody wanted to be in .com, and that stuff started to come online. Before that, we had phone dial-up. For anybody out there who remembers that, and what a pain in the behind that was. And so now we have my younger audience out there. They don't know anything about that. They just jump on the line and you're on. It wasn't always so, and it was a slow process to get there. But once we got there, then you had the advent, as it said, of Bluetooth, which is ubiquitous today in any internet place. I mean, you go a lot of places, people have Bluetooth headsets, you have Bluetooth audio in your vehicle. Wi-Fi is now becoming very much so ubiquitous. Most homes have it, most companies have it. So you go in there, Wi-Fi, where's the Wi-Fi password? You jump right on. That's so long ago. That was a thing. You didn't see that, but that has become, as soon as the internet, the slow pace of the build of the internet, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth were relatively quicker as you speak. So it comes down to the point of cryptocurrencies. The perfect operability is the ability to move information, state, and value between different ledgers. This, Charles Hoskinson said, was anywhere between 5 to 10 years away. So we're sitting here in 2019. He's thinking 2025, 26 to 2030. I think that's a realistic position, and we're going to look forward to see what happens. He did say that there has been a lot of regulatory innovation in the past 2 years, and with the turf between the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities Exchange Commission becoming more clear and acceptance of cryptocurrency, ETFs could be on the way. The main reason why this might not happen as soon as the crypto market wants is the fact that regulating a multi-billion-dollar economy requires careful deliberation because the market is not run by institutional investors and is financed with retail investor money. Now, retail investor money is you and I. Institutional investors are professionals, and money regulators are put in a tough position between protecting consumers and enabling the market to grow. So it's an opportunity where Yes, everybody should be able to participate, but at the same time, you want to make sure that people are able to participate fairly. Okay, so another thing that might delay mass adoption is the scope of the global market, with many institutions and entities involved in policing different parts of the market, adding complexity. It will take time before conformity and regulation is achieved, since there is no single authority that can regulate the entire global market. Okay, so that's going to take some time. Okay, so volatile crypto market has very little effect on Cardano. Regulated or not, the cryptocurrency market is a volatile one. But when asked on how the company deals with oscillating prices and market downturns, Hoskinson had a very positive outlook. He said that drastic spikes in the market don't worry him, as he's been through 6 collapses in the crypto sphere. Hoskinson noted that while the market is sufficiently large, crypto is not a free nor a fair market, as it frequently falls victim to insider trading and fake volume reports. However, he acknowledged that the power such spikes had on the entire crypto sphere, it gets more people interested in the industry. He says any visibility is positive for the space, kind of like any publicity is good publicity. And he added that as more people start questioning the nature of the money and value, the more recognition of cryptocurrencies can get. So that's a positive. I think he thinks as more people start becoming aware, and that's the whole premise, right? When we're talking about cryptocurrency, it's supposed to get the money out of one person or one entity manipulating the prices and actually establish a true market where we all can have buy-in, where we all can have control of our finances. And I love that aspect of cryptocurrency in particular, but Cardano specifically. Says blockchain 3.0 will transform emerging economies, and this is key. I talked about this on my last video. He said that Cardano is trying to move away from the mainstream cryptocurrency bubble. The company is currently developing newest iteration of blockchain tech dubbed blockchain 3.0, which it wants to bring to the masses. He says that the target market are countries who don't have developed financial infrastructure, such as Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, Mongolia, and other developing economies. Solving the problems of remittance and microfinance in these places is Cardano's priority. Passing and implementing laws that govern financial issues is much faster in developing nations, and its effects can be felt more rapidly. So it's going to be an opportunity right here because, again, there's a lot of countries. If you recall my last video, and I'll talk right here. If you have an opportunity to take a look at there, I'm going to put the card up. But my last video I talked about where you saw a lot of the continents, a lot of the countries in the world are underbanked. So this is exactly what he's talking about, and it'll be an opportunity again to get involved at the ground floor. I was excited about this. In order to facilitate that, Cardano has already partnered with Tangem, a Swiss manufacturer of hardware wallets for cryptocurrencies. Having low-cost cards that act as crypto wallets for offline payments could help propel some of these emerging economies into the 21st century. So, while the technology is 3 to 5 years from where it needs to be, the hundreds of engineers and developers working on solving this problem will eventually form an offline, off-chain, and infinitely scalable blockchain system. I love it. The idea, he said, is, again, the target is 2030, and as I talk to you out there and my investors, your idea should be long-term just like that. I think at the minimum you should be looking at 5 years personally. But, I think 5 to 10 years, anywhere that way. I think we're going to see, obviously, Cardano starting to make a move now. We see that. And I think you're going to see some fruits of the labor that has been taking place in the last few years here shortly. But hold on. Don't push the eject button too fast, because I think you'll like your results if you hang on. Putting people in control of their finances and making individual decisions on which assets to hold and where is something that both Hoskinson and the entire Cardano network are striving for. While most of the crypto industry agrees that the current financial system is far from ideal, it seems that Hoskinson and Cardano are the ones that have progressed the furthest away from it. I would agree. Okay, the final article I want to talk about here is where Charles Hoskinson, again, this is an interview that he talked about the Bitcoin. He says founder of Bitcoin calls founder on Bitcoin is blind, deaf, and dumb, and you can't really do much with it. I thought that was very interesting. In this particular article, he's talking about the comparison between Cardano and how it improved on Bitcoin and Ethereum. As you recall, I talked about Bitcoin being the first generation blockchain, the first kind of project, if you will, to establish that you can send money to another individual without an intermediary between, like a third party, like a bank. You send money to money, person to person, worldwide. And that was a great theory. And then as we see, it's in fact. So that was a hypothesis, and it has since been done reality. And then, but at the same time, that was all. It was simple transactions. And then we moved into Ethereum, and Charles Hoskinson was actually one of the co-founders of Ethereum, and talked about how Ethereum was the second generation because it brought on the advent of smart contracts, where you could actually do something instead of just, I'm going to send you money and you send me a service. This is actually going to have some interoperability in it. It's going to have some developers, some applications, simple applications, of course, but something in there. And again, faster transactions. But as he talks about it, there was a problem with Ethereum, and so he realized early on that it faced multiple setbacks regarding its programming. So Cardano's blockchain has functional programming. Cardano founder explained that Ethereum's programming language Solidity is not interoperable. Like we just talked about in the last article. That's a key point. That is, it can't be used across different blockchains because it's missing the three main attributes of every programming language should have: simplicity, conciseness, and proof of correctness. Hoskinson then decided that a functional programming language would be the ultimate solution for the problems blockchains face, as it makes things much easier to deal with in a large distributed systems. Some of the popular functional programming languages include Scala, Haskell, Erlang, JavaScript, Lisp, and OCaml. According to Hoskinson, these programming languages are not only better for distributed systems, but the code makes it easier to find bugs. They're also safer, more predictable, and faster than object-oriented programming languages like Solidity. As well, functional programming languages enable the easy parallelization and are widely used by banks and other financial institutions. That's key because, again, what we want is people to understand and be able to easily grasp what is out there, what the technology is, and if the financial institutions are currently using this, and this is something that's going to be easier for them to adopt. So, Cardano boasts Cardano is superior over Bitcoin. I don't think anybody is surprised at that. Throughout the interview, Hoskinson delved into all the improvements of Cardano protocol and highlighted that the blockchain is now moving into the Shelley phase of development. This will see the release of the Ouroboros proof-of-stake algorithm, which has more than 3 years of research going into it. According to Hoskinson, the proof-of-stake algorithm will bring a level of decentralization to Cardano blockchain that has never been achieved before. The confident Cardano founder did not reveal a release date, and we all know that the target was the first quarter, and I believe it's going to be here shortly. We know Cardano's not always on time, but they do what they need to get done, and when they do roll things out, it's not something that's buggy and they got to pull it back. It's always thorough. But he did say that Cardano will be 100 times more decentralized than Bitcoin by the end of 2019. Adding to this, he said that Cardano will have a throughput of 30 times larger than that of Bitcoin and will have also 30 times larger transaction volume. He went on to say that after 10 years of development on Bitcoin, the network is still unable to process more than 10 transactions per second. That's key. Now, do I think that Bitcoin is going to be just fall off the map? I don't think so. Because let's look at an example for gold. Gold is not. If I'm going to buy some clothing or something, I'm not going to the store with a gold bar in my pocket either. But gold still holds a point of value. And I think Bitcoin will have that. Will have some value here. Is it gonna continue to be that position of value in the future? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think it has value. I think it has value as being the fact that it is so limited. Just like gold is so limited and not artificially limited either. I mean, in Bitcoin, it was obviously calculated to be that way. And gold, you can't just find it lying in the street. So I think that it's going to continue to grow in worth. And we might talk about that in a future video. But anyway, question of the day. What I want to talk to you about is, in this point, do you feel as though Cardano is we're at the cusp of what we're expecting to happen here right now in April? Going into the IOHK summit. Cardano, I think the bottom is in. What do you think? Do you think that it's gonna be off to the moon from here, or do you think this is gonna be a steady build? Let me know in the comments below. And I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time on Copy Your Coin.